Okay, so we are live. Good morning,
Aloha.
Jonathan, and aloha to everyone else. Welcome. This is Betsy with my special guest today, Jonathan Dailey from Jonathan's Tarot.
Aloha, everybody.
Good. Hi. And so today we're going to be, oh, there's Red Bean. Aloha, Red Bean. Let's see if I can
Hi,
pop that
B.
up. Hi, B. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming. We thought today we would like to talk about past life work. Jonathan has a very special event going on today, so it's the perfect day to talk about it. And 11/11, right?
Right. So I'm doing an 11/11 special for anyone interested in connecting with ancestors.
Aloha, Jamie.
Well, hi, Jamie, sister of mine. So the 11/11 special I'm doing is specifically to help people get in touch with their ancestors. So I'm going to be doing a reading, filming it, and giving them a special private link so they can watch the reading as many times as they need. And then I'm also doing a guided meditation to access the ancestor tree and the Akashic realm. So
nice.
I actually was up past midnight filming that little meditation. And then today I'm going to be banging out a bunch of readings. So.
Ooh, good deal. So it sounds like you've had some good response to that. That's a wonderful thing. I thought today, before we got into deep, we would just take a minute to do a little grounding and centering. I know I need it. Running around, getting set up. Shirt. Yeah, running around, trying to get set up. So let's just take a minute to close our eyes, turn within, and I'll walk us through a little really simple grounding and centering. So close eyes and just kind of turn inward as we take a couple of nice, deep, cleansing breaths. And let's imagine gathering up that energy within us and sending it from the soles of our feet down to the core of Mother Earth. So nice deep breath in and out. Sending that energy deep down to the core of Mother Earth, who hears our call and responds by sending her unconditional love through the soles of our feet, up our legs, to our hips, up through our bellies and chest, spills down our arms and up our throat to the top of our head. And we now feel that connection, an unbroken, loving bond between ourselves and Mother Earth. So we will turn our attention now up to the heavens and reach out to Father Sky in the same way through our crown chakra. So gather up that energy again. Nice deep breath in and out. Father Sky hears our call, sends down his wisdom and patience through the top of our head, down our neck, to our shoulders, and spills down our arms to our fingertips, down our spine to our hips, and down our legs to the tips of our toes. And we feel that unbroken connection to Father Sky. So we ask now, with respect to our guides that come to join us, that we clear our space of negativity, that we open our hearts and our spaces to light, and we prepare for this journey together today. And so it is.
And so it is.
Cool. So, Jonathan.
So you have to excuse my yawns. I got like 5 hours of sleep, so.
It's quite all right. We understand, huh? You've got a busy life. And primary caregiver to 7-year-old, yeah.
Busy guy. It's almost 7, close enough.
Close enough, yeah. So Jonathan, please do tell us a little bit more about how you got interested in doing past life work.
So I've told this story on multiple channels, and I know I've told you in person that when I was a teen, I was at a summer camp in New Jersey that I ended up taking a class where the guy taught like the full spectrum of New Age work. So, energy work, the tarot, pendulums, like around the gamut, anything you could think of, he talked about. And one of the things he did for us as a collective was he guided us through a past life regression. And after I did that one, like the doors started flying open, so to speak. Because the way he described it, it was like a hall of doors, and each door led to a specific past life. And I have used that same meditation for others many times. And that's really what sparked the whole thing. I started doing past life regressions for people when I was like 16, I think. And then later in life, I realized that I could be using the cards, the tarots, who also give like more closure to specific patterns that are set up in past lives that are affecting this life that we don't really need in this life. So there's a few spreads I like to use. One specific one is, wounds from past lives that we carry into this life, that if we clear, our lives will be better because those patterns are gone. It could be something as simple as like, I keep falling for the same type of guy and I don't know why I like that kind of guy. Or like, for some reason, I self-sabotage right before I'm actually like make a breakthrough in my business or my career or whatever it is. So for me, working with the ancestors and the past lives to help clear these patterns up so that we can live our best lives is very important to me. And it's something that, in fact, 808 Wellness, I did multiple, I think I did probably like 4 or 5 group past life regressions with them. Yeah, and it was very interesting. Some of the stuff, and it's funny too, because sometimes it would be like, it'd be a group of people. The one person is like super spiritual and is really hoping to get something, like just falls asleep. Whereas the person is totally skeptical and didn't like expect anything, had this profound experience.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Is there anything at all from those, any experience that you had doing a regression with someone that you feel like sticks out in your mind and you feel like you could share anything about that?
Well, there was this mother and daughter duo that came to one of the group regressions. The daughter had dragged the mother there. The mother didn't believe, and even like thought nothing was going to happen. The daughter was all like gung-ho and couldn't wait to see her past life. So what ends up happening is the daughter passes out, falls asleep, like completely checked out. Like she has no recollection of me even talking. Like that was how hard she went down. Right.
Deep.
Meanwhile, the mother, who was expecting nothing, found out that she was the reincarnation of her own grandmother.
Well, cool.
Right. So she was just like dumbfounded because like she remembers being her grandmother. She remembers her own father like pulling on her apron strings, and like she had a vivid memory of being her own grandmother who had died long before she was ever even conceived. So like it made perfect sense.
Oh, so it was like her current lifetime.
Right.
So her mother's mother.
No, her father's mother was
her. So she raised her father and came right back.
And then came right back, and then he was her.
Wow, that is amazing.
Right? It was very intriguing. And meanwhile, the daughter's like, but I didn't get anything. Like, oh.
So, And the way it goes for we practitioners is things like that happen, and we never really get to have a follow up with people. So,
Right.
did you ever hear anything back from those folks? Crossing my fingers.
Most of those group sessions were just like, I only met those people that one time.
Yeah,
I never saw them again.
in that location, they're mostly
Right.
visitors, aren't they?
Exactly. Right. Almost all of them were tourists. An interesting one, a different group session, there was a woman, she was like a typical American tourist with the fanny pack and like the matching tracksuit and everything. And I was just like, what are you doing here? And she had a very profound past life regression where she remembers being a little Hawaiian girl thrown off a cliff as an offering.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
wow.
that was a heavy one. And then she's like, all she remembered was being a little girl. She knew it was Hawaii, and she had been tossed off a cliff.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's 6:11 here. But it was just, she was like, why did that happen? I'm like, well, you have to figure it out, because that's your karma that you're carrying. So why did that happen? And why did that hurt? Why did that memory boil up for you? So it's like, I told her that she needed to like journal about it, because then more stuff would bubble up. And that's the thing for me, is that like the first time I had a past life regression, it was, whoa. But then I did it once, and then things just started bubbling up. Like I'd be talking to somebody about past life regression and like past lives, and suddenly we'd be remembering a past life together, and then we're both like, what the what?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I remember you telling me that something bubbled up pretty quickly for you when we had first met.
Yes, that, chills. So that little, we moved back to Washington for like a split second. Well, it was 14 months actually, but like it felt like a split second at this point. And I'd had a past life regression where I was this woman who had like given up my virtue to this guy, basically, and then he dumped me to marry my sister. And since I had given up my virtue, I was no longer worth anything. And the village wise woman brought me in to teach me the ways of herbs and natural medicine, i.e. the witch, right? Everyone always calls them the witch. So when I met Betsy, I realized that she had been that wise woman in that other life. So yeah.
It's just amazing how we come back together in lifetime after lifetime, isn't it? I'm getting a little chills and getting the little heart thing. It's just, yeah.
So she was the only one that would accept me at that time, because it was, I think it was like the Middle Ages. I'm not even sure. Maybe late Middle Ages, right around the time that they started the whole witch hunt.
Yeah. Those memories, yeah.
Right. Well, so you taught me everything that you knew before you passed on naturally. And then I became the village wise woman. And my sister had been pregnant, and since I was a village wise woman, I had to help her give birth to the child of the guy that basically destroyed my life. And of course, complications happened. I was able to save the baby, who was a little girl, but I wasn't able to save my sister. And the guy blamed me for the death and started this whole movement in the village that, I was a witch and needed to burn. And I have very graphic memories of how I died. So I'll just leave it at that. Let's just say there's a rope and burning pitch involved.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it still like gets to me sometimes when I think of that memory.
It sounds like we need to do a little something with that. Get the drum out and go howl at the moon together sometime. Do a little blessing for that soul.
Well, it's interesting for me because I've had a hard time vocalizing my whole life. And when I started having past life memories, I realized how many of my lives, like I was stepping forward to say something and then like got an arrow to the throat or had a rope wrapped around my neck or like something to do with the throat chakra.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think doing the YouTube videos and the lives really is bringing a lot of healing for me. I just noticed we're both wearing that like light blue of the throat chakra too.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that funny? Yes, we were commenting before everyone came on that we got the memo to dress alike. Of course, I've got the sparkles, but our shirts look uncannily similar.
Well, I got a little bit of sparkle here.
Yeah, but we also both acknowledged that we rarely wear these.
Right.
Shirts,
it was one of those like,
and
okay, I'll put it on. Just leave me alone.
It was fate. I wanted to wear a different necklace in honor of past lives. I wanted to wear a big Native American piece as my homage to wishing I was Native American in this lifetime. But this shirt just kept saying, no, you have to wear me. So one thing I just wanted to kind of go back to and touch on because I enjoyed the story a little bit is the scenario I call the crying skeptic, about having people come in that are dragged in to a session and they're the first ones to start crying.
The woman who found out she was her own grandmother in her past life was like, she was sobbing by the end of her story. Yeah.
It just happens so frequently. It seems that folks that, it's what's that Shakespeare thing about he protesteth too much. It's like it's the person that holds on to that. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real. Has something just under the surface that is so there, and it's like they're fighting to keep it away. Sometimes,
for sure.
Yeah, sometimes for sure.
Then you get the ones who embrace it so hard that you get an unexpected response.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jamie. So one of the group sessions I led, there was a woman there that was like, she was so in touch. She was a little bit bonkers. Like, went off the deep end a little bit. Like, and she was, I mean, don't get me wrong, she was great, but at the same time, it was just kind of like that, like, whoa, it was almost too much.
Yeah.
So I did my usual past life regression. And when we're all talking, she pipes up. She's like, oh, I didn't go to a past life. For some reason, I was drawn to a future life. I was just like, what? Tell us more.
I had one of those too. Tell us about it. So is there anything that stuck out significantly on that?
She vividly remembers being in a flying car that like went down into the ocean and like the waves opened for the car somehow. They parked underwater, and even though they were underwater, they were able to just get out of the car and walk into their house, and like the entire neighborhood was under the ocean. They all had these glass domes so they could see the fish swimming around their house. And she said they was like the sky was full of all these flying cars and all the houses were under the ocean.
I want to live there.
And my immediate thought was, well, if global warming continues the way it is, we're going to have to live under the ocean in order to survive. So
that's really cool. The session I had with a client that jumped into a future life was very different, but transformative. It was a client who actually was living with a terminal diagnosis, and although the person looked well and healthy, they were not, and they had concluded all of the treatment available to them, and they were on a kind of a last hurrah kind of vacation tour with friends, going wherever they felt like going. And that client asked why in this lifetime the diagnosis, because they had been very happy with their life. They liked who they were. They felt very fulfilled. Why? And I jumped to their future, and their capacity was in some type of a medical practitioner far into the future. And at that point, the situation the client was in did no longer exist. But there was historic records of this deep emotional grieving process that the population had no understanding of. And as a compassionate practitioner, this physician wanted to understand that better and created that lifetime so he could understand the grieving process, even though it no longer existed at his time.
Right.
And I kept blinking and saying, I'm really not sure how to communicate this effectively, if it's going to just sound like it's, but surprisingly, we came to a deep, still spot of understanding through that somehow. So, yeah.
Amazing.
Have you ever thought about doing a future life regression group?
I haven't, but I think that would be interesting to do, because, I've always been so focused on past lives and the patterns that we have set up in other lives that are still affecting us in this life. So
how often do you think that comes up for you when you're doing a tarot reading? When somebody just asks for a tarot reading and the next thing you know, you're talking about a past life. How often do you think that happens for you?
When I'm doing a tarot reading, like say on my lives or even just one-on-one, I usually cater to what the person wants. But there are times where I'm driven to do a past life reading. In the last year, I've probably done like 5 or 6 past life readings where it just was like, it wasn't something that somebody actually requested. It was just, I was driven to do it, right? So I made a video of the past life reading, put it up unlisted on YouTube, and sent them the link. Just was like, I had a feeling that you needed this message, kind of thing. Every single time they're like, oh my God, I need to hear this right now. So it's like, it's very, I don't know, it's not something that comes up in a regular reading, but at the same time, it's like, it comes out of me when it's needed.
Yeah.
So, and I've had people specifically request past life readings.
Yes.
Right.
And so, do you do, I don't know how I want to say this. How much of a percentage do you think your past life work is in your practice? Do people that request tarot readings, are they equally interested in the past life readings or no?
No, I'd probably say about 25 to 30% of my readings are past life readings.
Oh, okay. So that's pretty good.
But some of those are specifically people who want to do this combination I do, which is like, I will lead you through a past life regression, and then when you come back, we sit down and do a spread on that life you went to.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of counting that in the readings as well.
Yeah. And is that kind of how your day-to-day started, about offering your past life event today?
Well, I got invited to join Tara of Kitten Waits and Tarot's mystery school.
Yeah.
And the school, the class I'm teaching is specifically working with the Tarot to work with your ancestors and past lives. That kind of trigger, I've been doing the past life thing for a long time, but the ancestral thing has always been kind of like under the wraps, just for me kind of thing.
Yeah.
And now it seems to be getting drawn out of me. And I was thinking about signing up for this like spiritual entrepreneur business mentorship kind of program. And I'm like, well, I can't afford it. And so the people who are running it were like, well, do an 11/11 special and make enough money at least for the first payment. I'm actually still kind of on the fence as far as signing up for that class, because it'd be pretty financial burden for me right now, and I'm not really doing much with the kid.
Yeah.
My whole life is distance learning these days, so but I mean, that's what triggered this special, the 11/11 special, was because they, as part of their mentorship, they basically encouraged me to do something like that. And they're like, well, you work with the ancestors, so offer that as your special. So, but
cool.
you know, I mean, I don't want to just do it as a special. I'd like to, one of my things that I was trying to create before the pandemic basically shut everything down was I was figuring out a way of combining my acupuncture with my past life regressions. So using specific points to help trigger the trance needed in order to actually do a lot of the healing work.
I like the sound of that.
So yeah.
Like
I've always been more interested in the esoteric side of acupuncture. So one of the specialties I really focused on when I was on my own, I could study whatever I wanted, was esoteric acupuncture, which is this amazing system of like traditional Chinese medicine and the chakra system and like sacred geometry and what else is mixed in. I'm like the elements, they mix in a little bit of everything. And it's acupuncture specifically for spiritual work.
Here, Luna has a question. So is it through a hypnosis state that you place people in first to do the past life, and then afterwards use tarot for more in-depth reading, or is it just through tarot?
Technically both. Some people sign up for the
Lavender Moon. Hi.
Hi,
Sorry.
Amber.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I do both. Some people just want a reading. Some people want the full shebang and want the regression with the reading. Some people just want the regression. So I pretty much I cater to the person's wants. Sometimes, I get taken in a different direction by the guides.
Yeah. Taken, definitely. I find that happens a lot as a medium. People come in and are communicating with loved ones on the other side, and it very frequently brings up generational karma. That's almost a given. And also as a channel, I get what the guides want someone to know in that moment, what their sole purpose in that moment has on the agenda, what's on your plate at that moment. And so with that, past life stuff comes up a lot because things that were set up in the past are intentional. It's like setting the stage for the next lifetime. It comes up a lot. How do you think, or what do you think is one of the biggest benefits of understanding a past life for your today?
Well, one of the biggest things for me personally is realizing where certain habits and patterns were formed, because there's certain behaviors and activities we carry on in other lives, but they're an echo of something that happened to us. Mm-hmm. So by connecting with that past life and understanding where that pattern came from, you can finally break it. So it's really good for breaking negative patterns. It's also really good for connecting with past lives for specific skills or talents that you want in this life that you had in a past life. Mm-hmm. So it's really it's up to the person I'm working with, whether they use that knowledge to help guide their life to a better path, or whether they just go, oh, that was nice, and continue on with what they're doing. But I'm just the channel, basically. I am just the answer that they wanted comes through, and then they have to do with it what they will. I can't tell them how to do or what to do with it. So you know that.
Yeah.
How many times have you given a message and the person's like, oh, that's nice, and then ignored it?
Oh, a couple of weeks ago, I actually had someone that I had to send away that had been there for an hour and was just getting increasingly more frustrated, was not resonating with any of the information. The questions she was asking were being answered, and she just got increasingly more frustrated until I just gifted her the session and said that I was glad she had recorded it on her phone so she could listen to it at a later date if she chose to.
Right.
So yeah, it's part of it. But typically, I mean, that's so rare that things like that happen, it seems.
Right.
Because I know for me, the guides manage to give them some kind of a tidbit of something that there's no way I, as a human, could have known. And so it establishes a smooth path of trust. And so for you, how does that work out for you? Because I'm lucky, my guys just handle it. How does that work for you? Do your guys just handle it?
Sometimes they do. And it's rare that I get someone who's super difficult. So I think my guides steer them away from me. But I mean, there's just the occasional person that has resistance. And I actually got feedback from somebody from a reading I did like a year prior. It was just like a basic tarot reading, but so the wife was totally into it, and the husband was like, none of this is going to happen. And it was the reading for the husband. And he's like, oh, that's nice. Well, none of that's happening. None of that's real. So, I don't know what to think about this. And then a year later, I was talking to the wife because I was giving her sister a reading. And she's like, I just wanted to let you know every single thing you said was going to happen happened. I'm like, oh, well,
Yeah,
I did warn you. And it was this. So the reading was really not a very happy reading. It was lots of warnings about things are going to fall apart. The ground's going to fall under from your feet. You're going to lose your job. You're going to have financial difficulties. All these things were coming out. And he's like, nah, I have a good steady job. I don't know. And she's telling me that about a month after the reading, all of it started falling into place.
Sounds like my year. It's the year of the metal rat in Chinese astrology. I happen to be a metal rat. I thought, this is cool. It's my year. I'm golden. I got this.
No, when it's your year, that's
what I found out.
Grab you by the shoulder and start shaking.
So I started reading up on it. I was like, oh no, God. Okay, so we're halfway in. So I would like to open up the floor to questions as we continue our chat. Please, if you have any questions for either one of us, please chime in. And again, just reviewing, today is 11/11, and Jonathan is running a past life regression opportunity for folks if you want to jump in. I don't know, is it too late? Are you booked for the day?
I am pretty busy today. I could probably squeeze in a few more, though. And today was actually an ancestor reading. So
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. No, I mean, it's really tied together.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with that woman who found out she was her own grandmother in her past life was like.
Oh, yeah.
So we have been our ancestors.
Real briefly, because Amber wasn't here when you said that.
Oh, right.
Oh, cool.
So for Amber, I was doing group past life regressions, and this mother and daughter team came in. The daughter really dragged the mom in. The mom wanted nothing to do with it. Daughter did not get anything out of the session except a nice nap, and the mom had this vivid recollection of being her own grandmother. So yeah, and I did a past life reading for Lavender Moon as well.
And she said, Jonathan did my reading and it was great. That's awesome.
So that spread that I did with Amber is the one that I really fall back on a lot, because it's just really, it's just 7 cards and it's very profound. It just helps like clear up any weird patterns that you have going on in your life, specifically ones that are tied into like a specific past life. But I was going to share with you that I got this book.
Wow.
It's Reading for the Reincarnating Soul. And it's
wow.
it's pretty thick. So it's like using the Celtic cross specifically for like life purpose layout.
Oh, that's way cool.
And the book is just chock full of all kinds of spreads. There's a couple spreads in here I don't think I would ever use, just because it's, one of the spreads is, where is it? I don't want to mangle the name, but basically it's it's a future reading to figure out how you're going to die in this life. And I'm like, who would want to have that reading?
I looked that up in astrology too. And apparently I have a lot in common with Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade.
There it is. The 32 card probable death reading. You're using 32 cards for the spread. So it's like,
it sounds like it's going to cover a lot of bases.
Right. But most of these are these.
Doesn't it pretty much say you're going to die? 32 cards? Isn't that like half a deck?
Right. Well, it's not questioning whether you're going to die or not. It's telling you how you're going to die. And I'm like, I don't really want to know.
I want to do that. Can we do that? No, I'm curious. Yeah, I want to do that. I have gallows humor. Hang on. I'm going to back up for just a moment, because Amber said everyone was laughing and I missed it ordering food. Well, we were talking about Jonathan had done a reading for a couple, and the husband was a skeptic, and he got a really hardcore, big time clearing reading, everything, clearing the life, blank slate, and he didn't believe it. And Jonathan said the wife contacted him a year later and it had happened. And I said, it sounded like 2020 and my life as a metal rat, year of the metal rat. Yeah.
Right.
So we were laughing about the hardcore lessons when your exact Chinese zodiac comes up in your life, the year of challenge. Yippee. Right.
So let's see the layouts. 2 card yes no question, 3 card life theme reading, 4 card future results reading, romantic soulmate reading, companion soulmate reading, 6 card present life story, the 6 card future life reading. So there's actually a spread in here for reading a future life. So I haven't really played with that one yet. It'd be fun.
Oh, I want to do all that. I want to do future life. I want to do death reading. I want to do all that.
Well, and then the cool thing, I'm just skimming over because it's just like it's different spreads basically about this life, past life. Then there's the that 32 card probable death reading, which is like whoa. Then there's the channeled crossover reading, which I'm like But then there's also a reading in here specifically about like the psychic talents reading. And the interesting thing is they have like the cards written up specifically for that reading. So I just flipped randomly to wands, and wands is the gift of prophecy. Cups is the gift of healing. Swords is the gift of time manipulation and out-of-body experiences. Pentacles is the gift of physical manifestation, right? Then, do they have the majors?
Amber says, I can see this being your specialty, Jonathan.
Yeah, so if anyone's interested, I think this book is still on Amazon. Samsara Tarot,
Cool.
and it's a nice book.
So I have
Speaking
a
of Amber, I
question.
should be getting your book today.
Oh, good. Yeah, I've skipped ahead a little bit, but then I got backlogged. I have about 3 books going at the same time. But I have a question. Have you run across people who have done too much past life regression work that are kind of like past life regression aholics?
Junkies.
Yeah.
Not personally. No, I can't think of anyone off the top of
No.
my head. But no, the thing that I usually run into is the skeptics, and then
Well, I
it's funny
asked
how
that
often
question
they have
because
some of the deepest regressions.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No.
I asked that question because I'm guilty of that. I did so
Okay.
much past life regression stuff that it seemed like there was some overlapping time. And
Well, okay, so there's many different schools of thought about as far as past life goes.
mhm,
Some say that we're living all our past lives at the same moment. That's
yeah,
why you can remember them, because you're literally connected to them. The oversoul has all these lives going at once.
mhm,
And there's an analogy as far as like the lives overlapping kind of thing. So there was this guy who was talking about past lives, and he was like, the subject came up of how many people were Cleopatra in their past life, right? Like so many people claim to be Cleopatra in their past
yeah,
life.
yeah,
And his analogy was like, you have this giant cup of tea. It spills, breaks, shatters, but you need to pick up all the tea. So you're using a rag to suck up the water or the tea, and you have all these little cups. So now that is strained out into these little cups. So what was one giant cup is now a bunch of little cups. And that could be all those people who are having memories of a life because the soul was so big that it needed to be broken up into multiple vessels. So
that makes a lot of sense.
and the whole overlapping thing ties into the idea that we have multiple past lives at the same time. So you could have one that's like starts and ends here, and the other one like kind of starts at the end of the first one, or even in the middle of the first one. So,
Well,
oh, that's funny.
what my guides told me was, and they posted just like this, like, um, well, we just show you these things that we think you needed to learn something from. You didn't really have to live it just to learn the lesson, but you asked, so there you go. There it is. Oops, busted. That was the way they posed it to me. Was like they were kind of like, ah, ha, ha. They kind of laughed it off. And
Well, you got a bunch of jokesters over there.
oh yeah, it's so true, right? I mean, that my personality bleeds through. I guess that's the guides that like this vehicle. People that are sarcastic wiseacres resonate with that. So yeah, yeah, they are some jokesters. Yeah, I love it too, Amber. But there's sometimes when they use some raunchy language, and that one just depends on the people that I'm with. Sometimes I will ask them to reframe things. That happens
You're like,
fairly regularly. Like,
way.
I'm not saying that. How else can I say that? I'm not comfortable saying that. Yeah. And so yeah, they'll reframe it. So as far as let me just back up a little bit to focus on your ancestor reading. So when you're talking about your ancestor reading, are you talking about how your ancestors' missions are influencing you currently? Is this like the generational karma kind of thing?
So I actually created my own tarot spread specifically for working with ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it starts with what ancestors coming through right now. What is their message? What message do I need to give to the ancestors? And then it goes a little deeper into what skills and talents have the ancestors gifted me, and how can I use those skills and talents to heal the ancestral wounds so that not just me, but the ancestors heal. So, right. So it's a healing reading. And that way you are dealing with ancestral wounds and at the same time breaking patterns that have been going on for generations. And setting things up for when you become an ancestor to be a good guide for the following generations.
So, and out of curiosity, again, it's all about me today, apparently. So are you noticing any particular time slot where ancestors are being very clear about how things have set up in the family generations for this moment and what that means going forward? Have you received specific information about that? Because I got that a lot in the past year.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's definitely certain wounds that served a purpose. And those, we will touch on them a little bit, but if they're not meant to be healed in this time, then obviously they're not going to be healed. What I focus on more is the ancestral wounds that are holding people back. So like a certain pattern that was set up like 5 generations ago, you might not even be aware of, but has kept your family stuck on a certain path that, is not necessarily a good path. If we can clear that and clear it back 7 generations, then things will start changing and shifting.
Yeah.
Even for the ancestors. So
yeah,
it's like an echo effect is how I think of it. A ripple.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got that a lot. Mostly centered around the turn of the century from the 1800s into the 1900s and going forward since here in America, there's been a lot of talk about how the generations prior paved the way for the current situation and for the star seeds and indigos and things. I got a lot of that.
Right.
Throughout this year. Have you been also?
If you think about it, that was about the time of the Industrial Revolution, right? So
yes.
That was setting things up for the here and now. And now we need to break certain patterns because the planet can't handle it anymore, right? So what I'm doing is I'm breaking the patterns so that we can live in harmony with the earth again.
Okay. Yeah, Luna says, that's interesting. I have always felt something has been passed down from generations in my family. Yeah.
That's every family, though, really.
Yeah.
If you look back, talk to anybody, there's always something like echoing through the family.
Yeah. And does anybody have any other questions they'd like to ask Jonathan about this? We've got a little bit more than 10 minutes left to go. It's perfect time to get a question in. And so just out of curiosity, I have noticed locally for us in Hawaii that things are kind of on a pause for me with face-to-face stuff. Have you noticed that as well?
Oh, definitely. Most of my readings and stuff have been virtual like this.
Yeah.
I think of the last time I did a face-to-face. Well, there's one of my neighbors has a son that my son plays with, and occasionally I'll bring a deck over there and we'll just play around.
Yeah.
Yes, it definitely can help clear old energy.
Yes. I have noticed that the Maui residents that I usually am in communication with, it's just like radio silence out there right now. It's an interesting time.
We're all in
There's a
hermit
lot
mode,
going on.
basically.
Yeah, there's been a lot going on with the election and for Hawaii reopening and nobody knowing how that was going to go. There's been a lot going on. And for those folks, I have a question for those folks in the chat room. Is what's it like where you are? Are people hermiting, or are people stepping out? If anybody has a comment on that.
I will say that since I stopped doing the face-to-face and started doing more like virtual readings, I realize now that like my readings haven't been the same. Like it used to be that like during a reading, their guides would come through me. Now I don't really have that happening anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a reading without, I mean, the guides still give me stuff, but it's not like them stepping through to talk through me anymore, which is very interesting. Because like I'm so used to it happening that it's like it just clicked. Like, oh yeah, since the face-to-face stopped, I haven't done that in a reading.
Yeah, and I have, interestingly enough, started getting more images in my mind, pictures instead, because the contact is not as when you are face to face with someone, the energetic contact. Oh, let me see, where was I going? Sorry. They step through when I'm in physical contact. Yeah.
Right.
It is a difference, isn't it? Yes. But here, Angie had something. I'm a hermit to begin with, but the new now is virtual. I work from home, and the readings always have been virtual. Oh, okay, cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I've gotten a lot more comfortable with it this year.
Well, I think we've all been forced to.
Luna says we're starting to move into the red zone, and I was let go from my job. Yeah, we were talking about that the other day. So sorry, Luna. People won't communicate anymore either, which is strange. Yes.
There's a lot of going within the eggs, as I call it.
Yes.
We're egging up. Like they're putting their shell around them and just kind of shutting off from everything. But I think of it more as a metamorphosis. I think we're all kind of cocooning to become something new.
My visions have awakened after you had shut it a few weeks back. Do we want clarification on that? I'm not sure. Okay, here, yeah. Okay, after I had shut them off a few years back. Oh, cool! Yay! Nice to hear that. Yay. Clairvoyance, we'll take it, right? I like clairvoyance. Yeah, and Luna says that she agrees it's a major shift. Yeah, we all feel it, I think. So Jonathan, you've got a lot of irons in the fire right now. You've got your health coaching, you've got a lot going on YouTube, you've got your private readings going on. Where have you thought about where you see yourself going in 2021?
I'm trying to figure out a way of tying together all the different things I do into one thing. So I really like to tie my readings into my health coaching program and have people sign up for like a 6-month program where I work with them with nutrition, but then also the spiritual side of things, and just getting every aspect of their life balanced and, focused on the health and wellness of that thing, whether it's, relationships, career, their physical body, their emotional body, their spiritual body. So
that's cool. And so with your health coaching, that's all virtual. Are you planning on doing anything in the physical world with that?
I don't really have anything lined up quite at the moment. Amber and I have been talking about maybe doing a retreat here on Maui at some point for people. And we want you to be a teacher, of course.
Oh my God. Yeah, when you guys were talking about that, I was like, ah!
But I don't really have anything set up for the physical. I mean, I really can't. Until my son can go back to school, I have to do virtual and like squeeze it in between times of like helping him with his schoolwork and stuff. So I don't really have anything lined up for the physical just because everything's so up in the air and so much of the world is starting to shut down again. So I'm really focused right now on the virtual side of things.
Oh, so yeah, here's Amber's talking about a mediumship channeling and past life retreat and oops, on Maui.
Yes. We were talking about the why am I forgetting the name of it? 5 hours of sleep is what
the K&I YMCA?
Yes, thank you. You knew exactly what I was thinking. Yeah. Of course.
Might be a little rustic, gang.
That's okay.
Yeah,
I think
that's okay.
That's what would be good because it's an intensive, right? So you want to be somewhere where it's like you can step outside and see the full spectrum of stars, or be so far out there your cell phone's not working so good. Because put all that aside, focus on why we're together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a great spot to visit lots of spots in Maui from. So
yes, my favorite place on the globe is just right beside there, and that is Honolulu Bay.
I love
where a river meets the ocean, and the gulch is wrapped in bamboo, and it is a really super yin spot. And I love to just go sit there in a chair and do nothing for the whole day.
Right. Well, and for those who want the authentic Hawaiian experience, you just go down into the valley by that old stone church that was built in the 1800s, and you get some Auntie Sandy's banana bread, baked fresh right there. You just sit on the beach and eat that. Oh, that's heaven right there.
I've turned so many people onto that I actually had in the jewelry store. I actually had some customers return the day after their tour, and they brought me a loaf because they said it was so good. They thought I deserved one too. I think there must be an entire stick of butter in each one.
I know, and I can't eat them anymore.
Oh no, that
was part of the highlight of the road to Hana for me was stopping at Auntie Sandy's for a loaf of banana bread, especially their chocolate chip ones. Now I'm craving banana bread.
Well, they're only open on weekends, so because the last time I went to Honolulu, it was on a Tuesday and they weren't open. But the time before,
they used to be open.
Yeah, but it's just, I think it's
I know
because there's no tour buses.
Everything's weird right now, so
everything is weird right now. But the whales are back, guys. If you thought about visiting, whales are here already and in close to shore. And for those that are in lockdown, we're not in lockdown. Get a test and come on out because the beaches are still pretty deserted. And there's lots
of warm.
And it's been really warm. Yeah. And so then there's that.
Right. So it's 88, but it feels like 94. Right.
Does anybody have a question for Jonathan about his ancestor readings and past life work before we click off?
I should have given you the link.
Yes, message it to me and I'll add it in because you can edit the description. Because I put a couple of links in the description already for you. I put your Facebook and your YouTube link on there, but any other links you have, just message them over to me and I'll pop them in.
Yeah, no, I put together a PayPal link, so you just click on it and then you can pay for the ancestral treatment. Basically.
Yeah, cool. All righty. Well, I don't see any questions coming up, and I want to say thank you to everyone who has joined us. I was going to say thanks to everyone that got up so early, but I guess that's us.
I think it's just us.
Yeah. Oh, wait, hang on. Amber says, it's been so warm in New York that I've been on the beach for days. Well, hot dog. That's not so
Wow.
bad. And Angie says, it has been warm here too in Montreal. Well, yeah, that's...
So, Amber, do you have to pay to get on the beach? Because I know back east you're supposed to like have a little something that like you buy a little pin that you have to wear in order to be on the beach.
Really?
Yeah. Whereas here in Hawaii, all the beaches are open. No, okay, good to know. No, because someone told me that you had to pay to be on any beach back east, which is just like, what?
Yeah.
That's a scam. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So Luna's talking about, yeah, the heat. Cool. And
Okay. No way. Okay, good to know, Amber.
And Red Bean says, love your chat. Very interesting. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Jonathan, so much for coming on with me this morning. I really appreciate it. This was fun.
Oh, of course. We always have fun together. And I
know.
love the matching shirts without even trying.
Okay, hang on. Angie has one more thing about the beaches. Beaches are paid on the East Coast, state beaches, but after Labor Day, they are free.
Okay.
So the next time you come on, I would love to just do live readings like we did.
Yeah,
on your
that'd
channel.
be fun.
That would be awesome.
Maybe we should set up one a month on my channel and one a month on your channel or something. That'd be fun.
That would be awesome. I would really love that. And yeah, because that to me is probably the most fun.
Oh, yeah.
And it happens when in a chat room and you start getting impressions and I'm typing in and I don't want to interfere, but by the same token, it's like, okay, I have to say it. So yeah.
Well, thanks for having me on. It's been a blast. And
thank you so much.
Anybody who's interested in the class, just let me know. I still got some spots open. I'm going to be banging out the readings. And I stayed up late last night filming the guided visualization to contact your ancestors in the Akashic realm. So,
oh, cool.
Please do more videos together.
Oh, thank you, Luna. We will.
We're working on it.
Definitely. We'll get that figured out. I'm so new to all this stuff, but we'll figure it out. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for all the kind words. Red Bean says there's such great collaboration.
Oh, I guess Amber's Beach is free all year.
Yep. Yeah.
That's good to know.
That's like us. You're not allowed to own the beach in Hawaii, so it's all public.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. I don't want to run over too much. We're right at the edge, and Jonathan's got a hungry family there. Right. So thank you so much for joining us. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, Jonathan, and kisses to everyone. Hugs and kisses. And we will see you all soon. Aloha.
Aloha.